Hello everyone, welcome to this Halloween special video of House of Hell, a fighting fantasy book from Steve Jackson. Not the Steve Jackson of Steve Jackson's games, a different Steve Jackson. Yeah, a little confusing. If I did get that wrong, I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Jackson, because there are two Steve Jacksons who are in the gaming industry. So it is a little confusing. So yes, I have done this before, and I really like the idea that for Halloween, do one playthrough, success or fail, one go at it, and however long the video is, that's it. That's all we do. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the fighting fantasy novels, these came out late 70s, started coming out, I want to say. I could be completely wrong. However, definitely early 80s. I bought these books. I even still own a few of these books. Somewhere? Not up there. I thought I had one around here. No. Yeah, I thought it was like a samurai one. Anyways, it's like choose your own adventure, only there are some dice involved, and you pick a path, like, and it'll say you deal with whatever, and it'll say, do you want to do this or this, and turn to page so and so, and that's how you go. So we are going to play did I have... Before embarking on it, you must determine your own strengths and weaknesses. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have a skill of 10, maximum 12. Determine stamina. Okay. And this will be adding to 12. That's not bad. That is not bad. And luck. Also not bad. We're getting some really good rolls here. Fear. This is a special one just for this book. Normally it's just the 3 stats, but this one has a 4th. Now, finally, your fear. As well as surviving your adventure by ensuring that your stamina never drops to 0. In a House of Hell, you must also avoid being frightened to death. Roll 1 die and add 6 to determine your fear. This total will give you your maximum fear score that you can bear. Your fear score is the number of points you can take before being frightened to death. Good luck. You'll need it. Again, a pretty good number. Okay. So we have adventure sheets. This is what we got. 18. We got fear 0. Skill 7. Luck 10. We are unarmed. Nothing of interest has been learned. You have found nothing. Standard type of character sheet. Okay. Options and main menu. Okay. The rain splatters the windscreen relentlessly. You can see no more than a watery gloom as you strain forwards over the steering wheel to see the road ahead. Although the wipers flap valiantly, they are fighting a losing battle. As the rain drives harder and harder, Your foot eases off the accelerator. The headlights struggle to light up the road. Have you ever been in a car in a storm like this? Just a couple times for me, and my God, are they scary. You're just creeping along. Damn, you curse the white-haired old man who sent you off along this bumpy track. Probably he meant the second turning on the left, or even the right turning. The old fool. Perhaps this is his idea of a joke. After all, didn't you notice a mischievous glint in his eye? Something vaguely sinister. But what sort of nonsense is this? So you've taken a wrong turn and got caught in a downpour in the night. The rain will ease off soon. It can't possibly keep out this deluge for long. And then you'll be able to... Watch out! You spin the wheel frantically to the left to avoid the figure who, from nowhere, shows up in the headlights. Kind of amusing that headlights both got hyphenated there in the exact same spot. Anyways, the car bumps and jolts as it bounces over the rocky roadside and thumps into a ditch. You collect your thoughts. You are unhurt but shaken. Then you remember what has happened. The body. You must have hit the figure that appeared. There was no way you could have avoided him. You sprang out of the car, praying that he is still alive. Your clothes soak up the rain as you hobble back. Hobble back to the road. In the darkness, it is difficult to see anything, but there's no sign of a body. You consider the situation. Are you certain that it was someone and not a trick of the light? Yes. You can remember the arms held up in front as the car collided, and the look of anguish on his face. His face. There was something familiar about that face. A man you recognize. An old man with white hair. Your heart leaps. No, impossible. With a shiver of fear, you race back to the car, jump inside, force the key into the ignition and twist it violently. The starter coughs, sputters, and dies. You hit the key again, but this time a single shudder is all the engine can manage. You grasp the wheel with your hands and shake it desperately, as if to force some life into the car. But the battery is dead. Your car is certainly not budging from the ditch tonight. Your situation is hopeless, but now the plight of your car is paramount. Where can you get help? You passed a garage at Mingleford, but that was some 20 miles away. As if in answer, a light appears in the distance. Someone has switched on a bedroom light. What a stroke of luck! It was at least 15 miles back that you guessed the last house, and you happened to have broken down just a short distance from someone's home. You button up your coat and open the door. From outside the car, you can see the building more clearly. Just ahead on the left, a drive winds up to a large... winds. I'm sorry. Just ahead on the left, a drive winds up to a large house. It is a good 5 minutes walk away, and by the time you reach it, you will be drenched. But how else can you call the garage? You can't afford to miss tomorrow's appointment. No, go you must. Hi, Yoda. Anyway, you'll probably be able to dry off inside, phoning the garage. You slam the door, turn up your collar, and set off for the house. A flash of lightning lighted up clearly for you, but in your preoccupation with the rain, the warning from above is wasted on you. The house is old, very old, and in a shocking state of repair. The light in the window is flickering, most likely an oil lamp, certainly not electric. And you don't notice a fact that might have turned you back anyway. There is no telephone line going to the house. As you climb the steps to the front door, little do you realize what fate has in store for you. Tonight is going to be a night to remember. Aha! You climb the creaking steps up to the front door and pause to catch your breath. Even though you ran all the way up the drive from the car, you are soaked through. Your feet are particularly wet. Judging by the number of puddles you stepped into in the dark, and the drive needs a small fortune spending on repairs. But under the porch you are out of the storm, and you brush the rain from your clothes before turning towards the door. The rain is still pelting down, but an eerie silence hangs in the air. No lights are on downstairs. You step back off the porch to check the upstairs window, which attracted your attention earlier. Nothing. No lights. The whole place seems to be deserted. But then you remember the time. 5 minutes to midnight. Everyone in the house has probably gone to bed. An owl hoots in the distance, and a shiver runs down your spine. The situation is a little scary. Here you are in the middle of nowhere, at some strange run-down old house, about to wake up whoever lives inside at midnight. They certainly won't be too pleased. But you have no choice. If you are going to make your appointment tomorrow, you must reach a telephone to call for help. You step up to the front door. From the left-hand side of the house, a dull glow catches your attention. A light has been turned on. You breathe a sigh of relief. At least someone is awake. You consider your options. There is an elaborate knocker on the middle of the door, and a bell pull hanging down to the right. Will you rap the door with a knocker? Turn 2. Or will you pull the cord? Turn 2. Alternatively, you could creep around the house to investigate the light by turning 2. I think we're going to choose the knocker. A few moments later, the door handle turns slowly, and the door opens. Standing in the doorway is a tall man dressed in a dark suit with tails. His long face is solemn. Yes? He asks indignantly. You smile nervously and explain your situation. Your car has broken down. You need to reach a telephone, and you are soaked to the skin. The man's face remains expressionless. Come in, he orders. The master is expecting you. Follow me. He leads you into a reception hall and tells you to sit down until he informs his master of your arrival. Turn to page 8. You sit down in a solid, carved chair. That was a poor reading there. And look around. The reception hall is certainly not what you have expected from outside. It is elegantly decorated with rich tapestries and fine oak panels. A number of portraits line the wall. A sturdy 16th century table is set against one wall. Will you wait for your host to arrive? Turn 2. Or will you study the paintings? Alternatively, will you hunt for a phone? Let's look at the paintings. 3 portraits are particularly interesting. Will you look at the beautiful young woman wearing a tiara? Or will you look at the middle-aged, portly gentleman wearing a half-moon glasses? Alternatively, will you look at an elderly woman with gray hair and a cold expression? I think we'll look at the middle one. Kind of reminds me, I think the person's Benjamin Franklin from that description. You study the portrait of the Duke of Brewster, 1763 to 1828. A rather elegant sort of chap. You think... Excuse me. You think as you stare at him, but suddenly you jump back. You could swear you saw his eyes move. A moment later, your suspicions are confirmed. His eyes are definitely moving, directing your attention towards one of the doors in the hall. What is happening? Your car breaks down, and suddenly you are in an elegant, decorated, derelict house with moving portraits? Will you sit back in the chair and wait for your host, or will you try the handle on the door that the portrait is looking at by turning to? You may, if you wish, look at another painting. We're going to try the door that the portrait is looking at. You race across to the door and twist the handle. Ah! You stifle a scream as you realize the handle immediately has an electric shock. It runs up your arm. You lose 2 stamina points. Damn. Footsteps. Someone is coming. The tall man you met earlier walks in, opening the door for another tall man, dressed in a red smoking jacket. May I present Lord Kelnor, the Earl of Drummer? The butler announces. The Earl holds out his hand and you shake it. His grip is strong and his eyes piercing yours. His lips widen to a soft smile. You begin to tell him of your predicament, but he holds up his hand. Please, I can see that you have been caught in this filthy storm. Let us sit by the fire, and we will see whether we can help. Franklins, tell the cook to prepare some food for our visitor. You protest that you do not wish to be any trouble, but your host ignores you and leads you into a drawing room where a fire is burning. You take off your coat and sit down. The heat of the fire makes you feel comfortable once more. Franklin's returns with 2 glasses of brandy. Will you relax, drink the brandy, and ask if you can use the phone? Or you wait and see what he asks you by turning to 111111. I think we will have a sip on the brandy. The fire and brandy warm you, and you begin to feel more relaxed. We don't have a fear point, but if we did, we would lose 1 point, which is good. You explained to the Earl what happened on the road, and that you would like to use his telephone to call the local garage. I'm afraid our telephone line came down tonight in the storm, he replies. We will have it repaired tomorrow morning. In any case, the garage would not come out here at this hour. But don't worry. You are perfectly welcome to spend the night here. I am glad of the company. Tomorrow, Franklin's will take you into town. Ah, here is Franklin's now. The butler comes back in to announce that the meal is ready. You both rise to go into the dining room. Turn to 309. The dining room looks magnificent. A long table stretches between 2 fine chairs and is laid with gleaming silver cutlery. A rich red wallpaper covers the walls, and the room is lit by a sparkling chandelier, bristling with candles, which hangs from the ceiling. You take your seat, and the butler moves behind you to offer you wine. Which wine would you like to drink? If you would like to choose the white wine, turn to 269, Or if you would prefer red, turn to $3.95. Now I myself, when I did drink, I prefer a red. The wine is impeccable, a fine vintage. Soup flows, and then you may choose between 2 dishes for your main. If you would like lamb, turn to $1.96, or if you would prefer duck, turn to $1.15. Alternatively, you can tell your host that you have already eaten and you are not hungry. Let's have the duck, shall we? Your mouth waters as a roast duck is laid before you. The Earl is having the same, and you both chat as you eat. He wants to know how you came to be driving along this road in the middle of the night. You tell him about the old man's directions. You ask him about himself and his family. The Earl of Drummer is the last survivor of his family. His estate stretches for miles around the house. At one time the estate was prosperous, with many tenant farmers cultivating his land, providing a healthy income for his family. But things started to change. His sister died at the age of 32 under mysterious circumstances. She was found dead in a clearing in the woods with strange marks on her neck. News traveled fast, and the ignorant peasants started muttering about witchcraft and black magic. In their eyes, the house was cursed. Pure superstitious nonsense. Of course, but gradually the farmers moved to new pastures, avoiding the estate. By now you have finished your meal. Franklin returns to offer you fruit and cheese, coffee, and brandy. Will you take fruit, coffee, and brandy, cheese, coffee, and brandy, or just cheese and coffee? How about cheese, coffee, and brandy? You finish off your meal. The Earl rises to his feet, saying, "Our conversation has been most enjoyable, but now you must be tired. Franklin's will show you to your room. Let us retire." You stand up. He's right, you are tired. It is well past midnight. You stumble and reach out to steady yourself against the table. Phew! You didn't realize you were that tired. Or have you had a little too much to drink? Your head is spinning, and the voice of your host becomes part of a background noise, which is getting louder and louder in your ears. Eventually you collapse to the ground and lose consciousness. You open your eyes. Your head is spinning, and it is some time before you are fully aware of the fact that your hands and feet are bound. The room you are in is empty, but you work out a plan. You will hop over to the window, break the glass, use it to cut yourself free. Pulling yourself to your feet is awkward, but you manage it. With a mixture of hops and shuffles, you arrive at the window. Outside the window is blowing the rain against the window panels. Will you go ahead and smash the window with your hands, or something of a risky business? Or will you instead test your luck? We are going to test our luck. Now, each time you use your luck, it drops by 1. You are lucky. You manage to escape the splintering glass without harm. You cut yourself free and massage your wrists to get the circulation moving again. When you walk over to the door to try it, it is not locked. You try the handle a little, and look outside. Your room is on the first floor landing. Facing the door is balustrade? I'm not too sure what that is. And looking over the banister, you can see the entrance hall below. To your left, there are 2 rooms in the corner of the landing, which runs along to the right. Oh yes, of course, first floor. It's more of a British thing than a North American thing. First floor is typically the second floor found in North American buildings. And the ground floor is separate from the first floor in terms of labeling for British references. So, yeah, that's what's going on there. To your left are 2 rooms. If you wish to go this way, turn to that. Looking to your right, the landing runs past another door and then turns to the left. To go this way, turn to 33. Let's go this way. A short distance further along the balcony, you arrive at a door with Azil written on the nameplate. If you wish to try the door, if you would prefer to continue turning to the left and follow the landing, we're going to do that and not try this person's door. You follow the landing around until you reach another door on the right-hand side. A nameplate identifies it as the Erasmus Room. Let's try going in here, though. You grasp the handle and turn it. The door is locked. It looks too sturdy for you to break down. Will you turn towards the door at the end of the corridor, or will you go back the way you came? Let's try going further down. At the end of the corridor ahead of you is a stout wooden door. While you are considering whether or not to try this room, a noise behind you startles you. You spin around only to find that the wind is rustling wall hangings. There is nothing to be afraid of. You turn back and are amazed to find a faint white figure has appeared in front of you. This apparition is a young woman in her early 20s, with long flowing hair. She is dressed in a white bridal dress, which has seen better days. It's ripped and torn. You gain a fear point. Oh, thank God I found you in time, she says. I must talk to you immediately. Come, let us go into this room. You may have scared us, but maybe she will help. Will you follow her into the room? Trust Casper. I just got an achievement. To enter the room, she passes right through the door. You, of course, must use the traditional methods. You turn the handle and walk into the Apollyon Room. It is an elegant bedroom. Fine floor-length curtains hang along one wall. An enormous bed with lace-covered rings is against another wall, and opposite stands a beautiful dressing table with a huge mirror. The woman hovers in the center of the room and bids you to sit down on the bed. Your coming here has been no accident, she starts, and I must warn you of the terrible dangers you will face here. This house is ruled by the Master, a powerful black priest of the night, named Kelnor, Earl of Drummer. I would guess that you are to be offered to the demons of hellfire if you survive that long. Yesterday they trapped a girl, a pretty young district nurse who happened to call. She is to be offered tonight. I cannot let this delivery continue. devilry, not delivery. There must be some way it can be stopped. If you can find the cursed knife, you might be able to defeat Kelmore, for this weapon is his only weakness. Please, help me. You will probably find it in... No! Quick! We are discovered. I can hear the hounds. Go! Leave this room! You stand up. She was right. You can hear barking getting rapidly closer. She motions to you, pointing at the door. You run to the door and peer outside. Nothing. The barking gets louder, and you turn back towards the ghost, who seems to be struggling with something. She is involved in a fight with two huge, ghostly Great Danes, which are snapping and clawing at her. You take a step forwards, but it is hopeless. You cannot touch these beasts, and your help would have been very welcome, because these dogs are much too powerful for her. She is weakening, and she does so. Her image fades. Moments later, she disappears completely, satisfied that their job has been done. The two Great Danes disappear also. You are alone. Do you want to help her, as she asked? Or would you just escape from the house? Well, let's try and help. You consider your best plan as you walk down the passageway. You turn right along the landing, and two doors are on your left. First, the Azil written on the nameplate, and the second, Mephisto. Let's try Azil this time. The door opens and you peer into the room. You quickly check that there is no one inside, and are relieved to find it empty, but full of clutter. It seems to be a crude scientific laboratory of some sort. A brass telescope points through the window towards the sky. Charts and mathematical tables are pinned to the walls. A human skeleton hangs from a hook, and a bench is covered with glass vials and apparatus. They look like priceless antiques, and they were all probably made in the last century. Do you wish to investigate the room further? Yes, if we're going to help, we need to find some kind of a weapon. You step into the room and close the door behind you. A squeaking noise from one corner makes you jump, but when you walk over, you are relieved to find that the squeaking comes from 3 rats in a cage. You keep your ears peeled for sounds of visitors as you investigate the contents of the room. Wish look through the drawers, or perhaps you may want to examine the liquids. Let's look through the cupboards. You step over to the cupboards and try the doors. They are not locked. You grasp the handles and open the cupboard doors widely. Just as quickly, you slam them shut. Shaking nervously, you step away, holding your hands to your gaping mouth, for the sight inside has given you a terrible shock. I thought I heard sushi. And you gain 2 fear points. Hanging from the hooks inside the cupboards are 2 corpses, which have evidently been used for experiments of some kind. The blood has not yet dried on these corpses. They are still warm. You lean back against the bench to compose yourself. You take a deep breath and look down at your feet as your head spins. Lying on the floor is a folded piece of torn canvas. You pick it up and find that it is beautifully painted, but only seems to be part of a bigger painting. Suddenly your ears pick up at the sound of footsteps coming closer. You nip into the shadows and wait for the footsteps. The footsteps stop outside. The door outside the door, and you can hear two voices talking. Hadn't we better ask Master's permission, one asks. Maybe you're right. And we better get a light for the lamps. You breathe a sigh of relief as the footsteps disappear off in the direction from which you approached the room. You decide it is best to leave before they return, and you open the door onto the landing. The safest way to go, it strikes you, is away from the two visitors who may return at any moment. If you approach this room from the left... Oh, no, if you approach it from the right. There is another door, a couple of meters up the landing on the left. This is the door to Mephisto's room. Mephisto's. Let's try entering. And I need a sip. The handle turns and the door opens a little. But it is caught on something and will not open any further. Do you wish to try to force the door? Or will you leave it and continue along the landing? Let's leave it. People are close by. You walk up to the two doors in the corner of the balcony. The one on your left is named Balthus, and the one in front of you has no name. Let's try Balthus. The room you have entered is a bare, pin-striped wallpaper covers the wall. A hearth is set in the center of one wall, and on the mantelpiece, there is a small wooden box. Curtains are pulled together along another wall, but they hang awkwardly, bulging at unnatural places. We are going to do the box first. You walk up to the mantelpiece and pick up the box. The catch is holding it shut, but before you open the box, a rustle from the window attracts your attention. Something is happening. You place the box back on the mantelpiece and walk over to the curtains. Ew! From behind the curtain, a heavy blow hits you in the chest and knocks you backwards onto the floor. You lose 2 stamina points. Do you still have enough left? Yes. We must fight. You pick yourself up quickly, and the curtain slides to one side. A human figure steps out. Its skin is dirty, green color. Its wide eyes stare at you. Yet through you, its jaw gapes, open to reveal a mouth half full of rotten teeth. It wears ragged clothes, and it is advancing towards you. You gain 2 fear points. How's our adventure sheet going? We're at like the halfway point here. Stamina's okay. Okay, you must fight. So now you're rolling dice, you're comparing skill to skill, and doing damage. Okay, hang on. Yeah, we got that one. One more win. We got it. Do you now wish to leave the room, or will you investigate the box? Let's get the box. The box rattles when you touch it. There is something solid inside. You undo the catch and open the lid. Inside you find a small key. You try the key in the door, and it fits. The key turns and unlocks the door, allowing you to leave the room. You find you are in the corner of the landing, and there is an unmarked door to your left. Okay. We're going through the unmarked door. The door opens into a narrow passageway which ends at a window. There is a door halfway along the left-hand side, and a sign on the door identifies it as the Diabolos Room? Okay, let's investigate the window. Curtains are drawn across the window, and you approach it cautiously. You gingerly pad the folds in the curtain, and are relieved to find nothing there. Well, after our last experience, yeah. Although they seem to be safe, you are still on your guard as you draw them apart. As you do so, a thunderclap booms outside and makes you jump. But you are safe. A perfectly ordinary window is uncovered. However, the heavy iron bars on the outside are a little worrying. Through the window you can see nothing but the rain running down the panel of glass. But curiously, the rain is avoiding one area. Could it be that the wind is blowing the rain away from this one corner? You bend down to take a closer look. Written in the condensation which has formed on the glass is a message. You read 3 words. Mordana in Abaddon. Abaddon? You repeat this message to yourself, then rub it off the window, in case anyone else should see it. This message may be useful to you, and you will realize when it is. Now you must go back to the landing and turn left. A short distance further on, you come to the top of the main staircase, which leads downstairs. Immediately opposite the staircase is an unmarked door. Okay, unmarked door. You step into a small storeroom and close the door behind you. There are shelves on the left and right walls, on which various household objects are stored. In front of you on the wall facing the door is another door. Search the items on the shelves. Various items of crockery, cutlery, and food are kept in the storeroom, including a sharp meat knife, which you hide under your coat to use as a weapon in the future. The sharp knife adds 3 skill points to a fight. Excellent! On one shelf you find several cloves of garlic, which you also take. Yeah, this does not give off a vampire vibe at all. There is also an unlabeled bottle of white liquid on another shelf. If you would prefer to try to door... Let's... drink the liquid? No, let's not drink the liquid. If you would prefer to ignore the liquid and try the door at the back of the storeroom, yes. You step out of the storeroom into the hallway. To your left, the hallway ends at a door which leads into the Satin Room. If you wish to try the door, turn to that. Yes, let's try the first one. You open the door and peer around. This room is a large, elegantly decorated bedroom with a 4-poster bed in one corner. There is a 3-piece suite in the center of the room, facing a fireplace. A fire is smoldering, but the room appears to be empty. On the far side of the room there are 2 more doors. Do you wish to go in? Yes. You step inside and close the door quietly behind you. A soft click comes from the lock. As you step forward, a voice greets you. You look around, but you can see no one. The voice continues, "So, our visitor is inquisitive, eh? Or are you trying to leave the house? Perhaps our hospitality is not to your liking. Maybe you would like to see some more, shall we say, amusements?" The eerie voice makes you nervous. You gain another fear point. That brings us up to 6 of 11. Do you wish to stay and talk to the voice? Let's talk to the voice. We are trying to stop this whole thing. Maybe we can get some information. In front of you is a high-backed armchair, facing the fire with its back towards you. A figure raises itself from the chair and turns to face you. The man is tall and pale, with jet black hair. He wears a long black cape, fastened across the neck with a gold clasp. "Yes," he says. "So far you have fared well against the occupants of the house, but I believe you will find that your run of luck has come to an end. Step forward so I can see you." Let's prepare to attack. Well, it seems like a vampire, so we're going to use the garlic. Or do you have anything else you can use? Do you have any garlic with you? If so, turn 2, which we do. You pull the garlic out of your pocket and hold it up before the man. His expression changes from one of confidence to a look of fright. As you suspected, this vampire cannot bear to be near raw garlic, suggesting that cooked garlic is okay. Sweat breaks out on his forehead, and he backs off towards the bed. He is heading for one of the other doors in the room. You hurriedly look around, trying to decide the best way out. Will you try for the door on the left, or will you try for the door on the right, which he was heading for? Alternatively, you could turn around and dash quickly for the door you came through. Let's not head the way that he's heading, because it seems more natural to book it the other way. Blood of the zombies, meet all the zombies. Achievement. The vampire's eyes light up as you open the door. Although you did not know it, this was just what he was hoping for. As a light from the room falls onto the faces of the vampire's 2 undead slaves, their eyes open, and they step out of the cupboard towards you. The hideous, gray-green, decaying faces of 2 zombies follow you as you step away from them. "Attack! Attack!" yells the vampire. And we must fight this. Oof. Test luck. It's just a stretch, so you can reduce your damage. Oh, we're not doing good. We need to do this. Oh my... Oh, okay, we both miss. I'm saving the luck for defense. I think we got that one. Barely. Test luck. Oh. Oh no. We have to. Oh, shit. Got him. Yeah, we got another zombie, and that's like, we are hurting. One more attack. I think we got it. Oh, that first fight was just brutal. The first zombie there. As the slaves fall dead on the floor, the vampire raises to his feet, ready to finish you off. You quickly hold up your garlic and he stands his ground. But what can you do now? You may either try the other door, turn to, or you could head back for the entrance door. I think we have to try the door that he was going for. You hurl the garlic at the vampire and dash for the door. He shrieks, trying to brush off the garlic as you fling it open. It opens into a cupboard, but rather an unusual one. The buck wall has slid aside, revealing a secret passageway. The vampire is rising to his feet again, so you decide to risk what lies ahead and step through into the passageway, slamming both doors behind you. The passageway is narrow, and only the faintest glow lights your way. After a short distance, you come to a staircase which leads downwards. Slowly and cautiously, you go down the stairs. After a dozen or so steps, you reach another landing, and you may follow them down further by turning to 216, or you may try a door in the wall of the landing. Let's try that. The door opens and you find yourself in a small room. There is another door leading off the room, but in front of you is a strange sight which catches your attention. A shimmering haze seems to be hanging on the wall, almost like a curtain of sparkling water. You step up to investigate and gingerly hold out your finger to touch it. Your finger passes right through. Plucking up your courage, you poke your head into the haze. On the other side, you realize what has happened. Your head has emerged through a large mirror in a reception room. On the wall opposite is a huge mural of a country scene standing in the middle of the room are a table and 6 chairs. The sound of voices outside the door startles you, and you draw your head back. Will you wait until the way is clear and step through the mirror? Perhaps you want to try another door in this little room behind the mirror. Or will you instead go back to the stairs and follow them down? Let's go down. Down into the depths of hell. We might find Cthulhu. The narrow stairway splits and offers you 2 ways down. Will you choose the left-hand stairs? Or will you choose the right-hand stairs? I'm left-handed. Oh, I think that leaves us with 1? The stairs are dark, and you take a few steps down, trying desperately to see the stairs below you. Suddenly, your foot slips, and you lose your balance. You lose 3 stamina points as you tumble down the stairs, landing in a heap at the bottom. No. Okay. Our luck is 5. Temple of Doom. Find your way into a sacrificial ceremony. You nurse your bruises and look around. All is pitch black apart from a point of light coming from the end of a long tunnel. You walk down the tunnel cautiously, and your pace slows even further when you hear the sound of voices in the distance. Human voices are chanting in a long, monotonous drone. Monotonous? Anyways, sorry. Soon you are able to see what is happening. A group of people, perhaps 40 of them, are gathered around a large fire. On the far side of the fire is an altar, and stretched out on the altar is a young woman. She is bound hand and foot. You cannot make out the faces of the onlookers, as they are all wearing goat head masks. In the center, standing over the altar, is a tall man dressed in robes, whose goat mask has been dyed purple. He holds in his hands a sharp dagger and is preparing to sacrifice his young victim. Do you wish to watch the proceedings, or do you wish to try and find a way out? Otherwise, you could try to rescue the young woman. We want to try and rescue her, because we said we would. Oh, well, the end. You leap into the center of the ceremony with a loud war cry. The young woman looks up at you hopefully. Your daring rescue is commendable for its bravery, but unbelievably stupid. For how can you hope to stand your ground against 40 opponents? They surround you, grab you, and the priest cuts your throat with his knife. You deserved to die. The end. Until next year, when we will try again. So, I do hope that you enjoyed that. Yes, it's long, but this is a book that has been put into video format after decades. And that's how it is. I used to read and play these books all the time as a kid. Lots of fun. So yes, I do hope that you enjoyed this, at least a little bit. And new to the channel, you can do the whole subscribing thing and bell notifications and all of that stuff. There's also a few links in the description down below should you wish to check those out. But until when next we meet, don't jump into a group of 40 cultists armed with just a meat knife. It's not going to end well. Good night.